Welcome, Dr. Kofi. This is Harmanjeet Rekhi, and I welcome you on the Global Menopause Collective, a very small little podcast that we've started. And we are engaging with experts like you from all across the world. For the good of the audience, I'd like to welcome a very special guest all the way from Ghana, Dr. Kofi Brifo. He is a dermatologist. He's a MD. He's global skin advocate, founder of Skin Foundation Africa. He founded this in early this year. He is dubbed as the Skin Masiha, and he is the West Africa representative for ISD, that is International Society of Dermatology. So thank you so much for sparing your time, and thank you so much for joining us, Dr. Kofi.
I'm happy. I'm happy to be here, Mr. Iraqi.
Perfect. So, Dr. Kofi, I would start by asking you what prompted you to establish the Skin Foundation Africa. How did you come about this idea?
Thank you for your question, Iraqi. So, Skin Foundation Africa is the future of Africa. Africa Skin Health. A little over 4 months ago, I was in Rome. I visited Vatican, and I decided to join their 5 p.m. mass. Now, whilst I was there, something decided or something, an idea came about, and it was very simple. I have spent over 9 years in a consulting room, listening to complaints, one complaint over the other, or one complaint after the other. And I decided, why don't I come out and let the whole country as a whole enjoy all the experience that I've gained over the years.
Right.
And it was very simple. The mission was to go out there, and especially with education, all the complaints and all the challenges that we face in the consulting room and all the education that we do in the consulting room, I think we should step out and do it on a much bigger platform
larger
where
scale.
people will enjoy it
Right.
larger scale. Then we came back home, and bam, that was the beginning of the Skin Foundation Africa. So Skin Foundation Africa, it has 5 pillars. It's all about education, advocacy, awareness creation, humanitarian support, and research. And it's been amazing.
Wow.
The feedback is just something else.
Right.
So basically, that is what the decision that went into establishing Skin Foundation Africa.
Wonderful. And how did you gain this name or the title of Skin Masiha? What happened there?
So that's a very interesting one. If you notice my even how it started, it tells you how the impact of religion on my practice.
Right.
I am a staunch Christian. I believe in God.
Right.
And I believe whatever we do was given it to us by God. So we need to share with people. And when we talk about the Messiah, it's somebody who it's basically here to help or to put us into safety or to rescue us. And basically, when you add the skin, what makes it unique is the fact that you have somebody who has put himself there, very selfless journey, and has decided to put in work, has decided to help or to put people or to empower people in terms of skincare. And basically, that is what we decided to do. And that is what was bestowed on us. So if you ask about the Skin Messiah is very simple. It just tells you that here he is. He's the one who is here to put a smile on people's faces,
Wonderful.
to add voice to the voiceless.
I would say what a cause, and
Thank you.
what a beautiful thought behind this whole process. So you are the West African representative of ISD as well. So what's your job like? What's your portfolio like? How do you progress in that?
So that's very dear to me. My boss is Dr. Martin. He's the president of the International Society of Dermatology.
Right.
And we went for a conference. We went to EADV maybe about 6 weeks ago.
Hmm.
And I met with him. The small works that we've been doing in terms of pushing skincare out there, especially education,
Hmm.
and the numerous outreaches that we have decided or that we've embarked on.
Hmm.
Won us that appointment.
Hmm.
And basically, what we are supposed to do is very simple: to coordinate the whole West African countries,
Hmm.
especially with the dermatologists,
Wonderful.
put them together.
Wonderful.
And what we are doing is to push make sure skincare is for all. Dr. Martin, the president of the ISD, is for Africa, basically. So we are more like a representative of his ideas or representative of what he believes in, and
Wonderful.
we are working together to push the agenda.
Wonderful. Wonderful. And that, I'm sure, is going to take the traditional science that
Mm,
Africa holds, that traditional
mm,
knowledge, along with whatever the Western research has to offer. So I think these two
definitely.
elements going together has a wonderful
Mm,
synonymity of progressing
mm.
into something which is very, very big and which has not been conceived till now. So
Yeah,
it's a
yeah.
beautiful concept that you're working on, Dr. Kofi.
Mm,
I would like to kind of explore that what all
mm,
are the issues, that usual common issues that
mm,
women, girls in Africa face in terms
mm.
of skin problems. Let's say starting from
So
10, 11 years onwards till about
yeah,
middle ages.
yeah, yeah. And that's even the reason why part of the reason why we decided to put together Skin Foundation Africa. Women, children, or women, kids, they tend to fall very underprivileged society,
Yes.
and a privileged part of the society, and they need that care.
Hmm.
So if you come to Ghana, for instance, we have the five most common presentations.
Hmm.
It cuts across, but more common to women. The first one currently is acne and its complications.
Hmm.
So acne, hyperpigmentation, so post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation,
PIH,
and
yes.
also acne scars.
Yeah.
Definitely, that's something that it's really a challenge. So that's the number one. The second one is eczema. So eczema, whether chronic dermatitis, whether urticaria, the eczema is very common presentation when it comes to women and these young ones. Due to the influx of fragrances on the cosmetic community and stuff.
Hmm.
Now, the third most common one is pruritus. So pruritus,
Okay.
it cuts across. It could be chronic pruritus or acute pruritus, very common. Number four is the dermal, fungal infection, dermatophytosis,
Yes.
also very common. I will use this opportunity, to bring this message. So in Ghana, when they say eczema, it means something else. It means fungal infection,
Okay.
and it tells you how common it is.
All right.
So fungal infection definitely. Then the last presentation is, I would say, is as a result of as a complication of all of these things. That's the hyperpigmentation,
Hyperpigmentation, yes.
and that poses a challenge because of that. There's an influx of these toning or bleaching products on the market,
Hmm.
all in the name of treat or fade these hyperpigmentation. It's
Same.
something that
Same concept
gaining
in India as
popularity
well.
that needs to be
Same
addressed.
concept in India. And
Yeah.
I've somehow a very firm believer that when you are
Mm,
talking about retinoid, the dosages are not
mm,
regulated in the commonly available cosmetic products, especially the creams and the application, the topical application substances.
mm,
So
mm,
I was under the impression that that probably is being pushed in India only, but probably that is the way it is in
mm,
Africa as well.
So there's something that needs to be addressed
Hmm.
when it comes to because of these So as part of the Skin Foundation Africa, we have some free projects going on.
Right.
We have what we call Summer Skin Project, SSP, where we provide free consultation to people with acne and its complication. And because of that, it has helped us to know a very common, triggers or when it comes to acne, for instance. Now, currently, the number one cause of or trigger of acne in Ghana it's our dear skincare habits. And
Absolutely.
if you ask me,
Absolutely.
retinol is something that it's very common here, over the counter people still get. And in terms of even the percentage is not well regulated. And how to use it. Some people use retinol in the morning, in the afternoons and stuff. So definitely it's something that needs to be addressed. It comes with so many complications, then
Yes.
your skin
And it is
peeling,
not for
sometimes with
everybody.
fever, redness.
It is
It's
not
not
for
for
everybody.
everybody.
You will
It's
sensitize your
something that
skin.
needs to.
You will sensitize your
Mm,
skin to an extent that it is irreparable afterwards. The skin
well,
sensitivity goes so high. And since we
mm,
started working on something called as bioretinol, and since that time, we have
mm,
been fighting with this concept of unabated use of everything from vitamin C
mm,
to retinol off the counter to various harsh chemicals, harsh
mm,
exfoliating agents. And in
mm,
turn, what they are doing is they are actually trying to sensitize the skin to an extent that they have to use steroids
mm.
all their life, all their life.
Yeah,
One
yeah.
of the what in my understanding, one of the main causes of acne in young girls is that they start using cheaply available makeup products very young in their lives.
Mm,
Now think about it, a
mm,
10-year-old, 11-year-old girl, in order for her to be on the social media, she needs to look in a certain way. And poor child, she
mm,
does not have the capacity to go and ask her father or probably her mother for that expensive or a real or a nice cosmetic. So what happens is, for
mm,
whatever money that she saved, she will eventually go onto the social media, any of these channels, any of the
mm,
platforms, and whatever is the cheapest, whatever is the brightest, and whatever speaks the loudest, she will pick it up. And then eventually what happens is that
mm,
sooner or later,
mm,
she starts to go into a panic mode. So stress builds on, acne is not being
mm,
resolved. It is often being
mm,
dubbed as hormonal acne.
mm,
And in the ideology of it, if you see, it's just bacterial colonies which are building up with the use of unabated use of this cheap chemical makeup.
mm.
So that's my ideology.
Yeah.
What's your perspective to it, Dr. Kofi?
My is not so different from yours, but I will share some few, few experience with especially with acne. Now, whether we like it or not, so young people between the ages of 15 to 35, they are becoming more concerned about their looks and
Yes.
skincare and stuff.
Yeah.
Obviously, due to celebrity trends, due to
Yes.
social media influences,
Yes.
and even due to some dermatologist campaigns.
Yeah.
Now, I have done a research somewhere last year. I did a psychological impact of acne on young adults and adolescents. The results were just mind blowing.
Oh.
Now, I've been asking people, doing a research about how all these come about. Now, the number one, in addition to it's not only makeup. In addition to the makeup, most people are using comedogenic
Oh
products.
yes.
And these are products that has the potential of clogging or blocking our pores.
Yes.
Now, what is happening is, as you rightly said, they spend money, buying all these makeup products. Not only makeup, it could also be a moisturizer. It could be a sunscreen. Now, the fundamental thing here is, do you know your skin type? Most people assume the fact that this product is working for Mr. Raki or the
Yes.
fact that it's working for Dr. Brifo,
Yeah.
it's going to work for me. But
Yes,
that's not how skincare is.
absolutely.
So that's the reason why Skin Foundation Africa, as part of our pillars, we go around educating people. That's why we have projects like the Glass Skin, project or class,
Hmm.
where we empower people. We tell them before you buy any products, especially with these moisturizers, sunscreens, and makeup, there are certain things you need to watch. You need
Hmm.
to look out for your skin type.
Hmm.
If you have an oily skin,
Hmm.
you don't go about using, these oil-based products.
Absolutely.
And that's something we need to look into. And
Hmm.
all these, sometimes we just look at the physical parts, the topical, issues. It cuts deeper than how we see it, especially the psychological part. So
Absolutely.
definitely it's something we
Absolutely.
need to look into.
I'm so
Hmm.
grateful to you that you have raised this point, Dr. Kofi. I'm so grateful to you. So, I mean,
Mm.
after you complete your, you know, what you're telling us, I would
Mm.
like to add something to it. I would like to add something to what we have learned over the last 14 years. I would like to add something to what we've started to kind of practice in India.
Mm.
And India, we are we are kind of gathering up something called as integrated medicine, integrated healing.
Mm.
It is holistic
Mm-hmm.
healing. At the same time, we are trying to look out for the holistic approaches towards healing, including
Mm.
skincare. One of the
Yeah.
facts that we have come about is that majority of the people, majority, I would say 90% of the people do not understand that the skin is an endocrine organ. Now think about it. Your skin is an
Mm.
endocrine organ, so is your thyroid.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when you need to
Mm.
go for a thyroid checkup, you would ask everybody around, you will ask your uncles, aunts, all the doctors in your vicinity, that who is a good endocrinologist. And
Mm.
then you will take an appointment, you will go and discuss all the aspects that you need to know. And before you start the medication, why for one endocrine organ you go to this length and for the other, while scrolling some Instagram post, some
Mm.
TikTok post at night before sleeping, just
Mm.
as a boredom itch, you end up
Mm.
buying something that looks fine. The packaging is fine. You don't understand most of the
Mm.
ingredients. Okay, fine, that's agreed. But you don't even ask yourself the why am I targeting? Why am I experimenting with a very important organ of mine?
Mm.
That's the skin.
Yeah.
Your skin
Yeah. Yeah.
absorbs whatever you put in. The permeability of your skin decides how fast that particular product will go inside. So where is everything that you're putting on your skin going? Of course, it is going in your skin. And there are EDCs, endocrine
Mm-hmm.
disrupting chemicals. Why do you think young girls have started to have periods? They enter puberty at the age of 9, at the age of 7. Somebody was telling me in South Africa, the age has been reduced to about 6. Come on, 6.
Wow.
6 is, my son is 6 years of age. He doesn't even still know how to blow his nose. A girl, 6 years of age, she's entering puberty. Poor thing, she doesn't even know. And all because of these flashy marketing gimmicks that skincare industry has started to put out onto us. When the
Mm.
West started to reject those things, these people started dumping these particular products in India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Africa, because these were considered as easy markets. People don't ask questions. And one of my
Mm.
sole intention is for making people aware that please do ask questions. Please ask questions.
Mm.
Where did this come from? Do I need it?
Mm-hmm.
As you mentioned, whatever is good for Dr. Brifo is not necessarily good for Harmanjeet
Mm.
Rekhi and vice versa.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a very important aspect that we have kind of raised, and I'm sure that Dr. Kofi, you and I, we will be able to kind of generate a movement around this point, so as to educate
Yeah.
people, so as to bring people together and ask them to at least start considering the skin as a very important organ. It's not just a covering.
Yeah.
It's not just a
Yeah.
covering.
Yeah.
Another
Yeah.
very important aspect
Yeah.
that I would like to raise here is that when you start talking about holistic healing, you also start to look at what goes inside you at a psychological, as a physiological level. And everything that happens inside your skin is just a mirror. God made us not with cameras and not with mirrors. God made us to observe our skin. How many people, I always ask this question, how many people do actually look at their entire body every day? What's changed? What's coming? What's emerging? You have some sort of blister, there's some sort of a rash. Your body's trying to indicate something to you. So we have consciously stopped looking at this and stopped experiencing what the body is trying to tell us. And probably we don't even decipher that, Dr. Kofi. Generations
So
and generations of stress stored in your body coming out as acne,
yeah. Yeah.
as
Yeah.
pigmentation as well. Please add your perspective to it.
So I agree with you. You see, the skin plays a very important role.
Yeah.
The skin forms over 70% of it tells us of it's who we are,
Yes.
basically.
Yes.
Now, when you are well, the skin tells the story. When you are okay, you are well, the skin also tells the story. So it's very important how we take care of our skin. Now, many a times people they keep on complaining skincare is expensive. Yes, to some extent. It's because you use all these products before coming to see the dermatologist.
Yes.
And then by the time you come, you have all these complications setting in. For instance, a very classic or a new trend in Ghana where people start with the steroids or the famous steroid. They start with the potent steroids. By the time they come to see you, not only are they having acne or hyperpigmentation, they also have all these, fungal infections superimposed on it.
Yeah.
And it's something you ask yourself. If you had just visited the clinic, we wouldn't have gone through all this. Now, something that it has to be said, we need to put in effort or put in work is to educate people about long-term treatment of acne. Now, if you come and see the Skin Messiah, what we do is we don't do those shortcuts. No, before I even prescribe anything to you, I want to be sure the triggers of the acne. If you don't know the trigger, forget it. You don't get anywhere. Usually what happens is you start a treatment, just a matter of time. Sometimes a month, 6 weeks, patient is fine, everything is it's as if it's gone. Only for the patient to come back and see you in, let's say, 3 months or 6 months, or even sometimes a whole year. And the reason is you only treated the acne, you did not treat the patient. And treating the patient means finding triggers and now, getting the best remedy for it. So
True.
unless we
True.
keep on pushing this education, telling people about skincare, telling people about what to do when they have a rash of acne, and also telling people about the fact that, yes, it can start small, but at the end of the day, how you treat it is very important. If you don't treat it well, you end up spending more money. And again, you end up getting more complications, which now, psychologically, it also affects you. And the psychological part, as you rightly said, that is what happens. There's an activation of the HPA, the hypothalamic pituitary axis, and will eventually
Yes.
ends up releasing more hormones, which will end up providing or do giving more androgens in your system, more sebum production, high risk of blockade or the pores gets clogged, and it's like a cycle. So I think that is the reason why people like us we are collaborating and
Yes.
pushing this agenda, and I'm sure the narrative is going to change.
And I think it's the
Definitely.
God's plan and the God's wish to actually bring a few people
Mm.
together And I'm sure that Dr. Kofi, with your support, this movement, the Global Menopause Collective and the Skin Foundation Africa, this will reach the world over, and we will be able to make a lot of difference, not only in Africa, not only in India, but world over in terms of how skincare is perceived. One thing I would like to kind of bring to light here is, in India, we've started to go back to traditional Indian ingredients and therapies. Of course, not in the traditional manner, but with with a twist of science in it. And what we have been doing is we have been experimenting a lot with cocoa pod ash from Africa. We have been experimenting a lot with pure shea butter. We have been experimenting with, we have been building products with traditional turmeric, but in the encapsulated form. So what encapsulation does is, let's say now we have a face wash with turmeric encapsulated beads. So what that does is, the moment you press them out of the pump, it gets broken, and that's when it gets activated. So till the time, let's say for a year, 6 months, whatever it was in the bottle, it did not lose its efficacy because it was safe in the encapsulated form. So it has remained in a very, very efficient manner, and it gets activated only and only when you actually put it, when you pump it out on your palm, just 5 seconds before you use it, and that's why the efficiency is greater. So I would like to understand from you that what all, let's say go back 50 years, go back a couple of decades, how was African traditional therapies, what were you using in terms of resolving acne and resolving sunburn and resolving dry skin, pigmentation probably, or was it that people were okay with it? People really didn't bother much. How was it?
So very, very interesting question. So back then, people were not really very particular about our looks.
Yeah,
Our skin concerns were not really as important to us as it is now.
yeah,
We were very particular. So I'll share the story. Back then, some years back, people were trying to, those were the influence of the Western
right,
world,
right,
and people were being seen, or were being affluent. You needed to look in a certain way,
right,
and because we are Ghana, our colonial masters were the British. So then we saw the Fitzpatrick type 1 and 2 as more like supremacy.
right.
So then people wanted to be fair,
Hmm.
basically, and they were doing all sort of things. So even back then, hydroquinone, steroid were there, So we used to call it Abidjan cream, Abidjan
Abidjan
cream,
cream, yes.
where people, buy it, and they were using it for all sort of things, for all sort of rash, but most importantly, for a fair complexion.
Hmm.
What present day skin bleaching.
Hmm.
And it was a challenge, because then around that period we were having so many complications. So
Hmm.
complications from the steroids that they were abusing it, because it wasn't well regulated. We didn't back then. The FDA, Food and Drugs Authority, wasn't as robust as now.
Right,
So you can imagine the chaos. And eventually the results were people, getting all these complications, people getting diabetes, people getting hypertension,
hmm.
all because of these high potent steroids that they'll usually put in there. And another classic one of people were even swallowing medications like Dexacortin. That's
Right,
basically steroid. It was a
right.
very, it was a very popular brand that time. and oil in an attempt to, look or be seen as being an affluent. Now, back then in Ghana, people were still over the counter. Currently, I mean, as it stands now, we have like less than maybe 24 or 25 dermatologists in Ghana. So you can imagine what was going on that time. It was more purely over the counter. In terms of herbal stuff, yes, the herbal medications is also very common here. But in Ghana, back then, there were few or less herbal medications for acne.
Right.
However, it was more to do with internal stuff. So, for
Right.
instance, we used to call something cocoa. They do their concoction and do the herbal. But quite few that you can source, to hear about people using herbal stuff for acne. However, in terms of wound or ulcer, so there used to be a very common or popular leaf called a champon.
Okay.
So a champon was being used to people with sore. So basically, if you have, sometimes it can become, the leucistic starts discharging and all the pus and stuff. So some people still apply some of these champon leaves, basically. So that time, this is how in Ghana the story was. If you ask my opinion in terms of, the orthodox and doing the herbal one, my response is very simple. Anything foreign or alien to the body, it takes a while for the body to adjust
Adapt
or
to, yes.
to adapt to it.
Yes.
So definitely, you'll say the herbal ones. These are things that are naturally grown, so that you expect maybe very, very, very few not tolerating. But as I said, it depends on your skin type. Everybody's skin type is
It's
different.
different.
If I have a
Absolutely.
sensitive
Absolutely.
skin,
Absolutely.
basically, the only difference is maybe with the herbs or with the organic ones, maybe the response wouldn't be as bad as using some of these things. And also one thing that is lacking here, and I need to commend you. It's a good thing you are doing. One thing that is lacking here is research to back some of these, herbs, of which you guys are doing amazing. I did a research, and I think you are doing amazing in terms of not just are you putting products out there, you are also they are on backed scientific, backings, and that's the way to go, if you ask me. So yes, that was how skincare was that time, and also in terms of the herbal or the topical herbal stuffs too. It's something that we can also consider,
I'll
definitely.
I'll I'll
Yeah.
add something to this. I'll add something to this.
Mm,
There's a science of epigenetics. Epigenetics says that the environmental
mm,
issues, the diet, the environment around your body, the how you've actually lived, that dictates what gene impressions you have, how your DNA
mm.
is built and changed over generations and generations. Now, let's say for thousands and
Yeah.
thousands of years, your ancestors, they were used to applying shea butter, a cocoa pod ash, probably certain clays, right? For calming their skin, for calming sunburn, for protecting against sunburn. Your body was so used to that.
Mm,
Your system is so used to that. And in the last 40 years, 50 years, things have changed.
mm.
The gentle
Yeah.
influx of all these chemical based medicines, so called,
Mm,
filled with steroids, they were readily available. So,
yeah.
why would a mother go through the process of buying a certain clay and preparing it for the next 3 days and then applying that to the child versus just buy a small little tube and that's okay, that's done. And probably
Yeah.
the effects were promised to be bigger. So, what has started to
Mm,
happen is that our bodies have started to fight against these foreign alien things, and we are more adapt to what the nature has given us and probably what our bodies are used to.
mm,
I'll give you an example. I was in England for for about 2 years. And I fell sick over there. And we went to
Mm-hmm.
a hospital, the clinic, and there was a
Mm-hmm.
Russian doctor there.
Mm.
So he says, well, you can have this medicine, but I'll tell you a better thing to do. Go and dip your
Mm-hmm.
feet in ice cold water and then go into the bed and wear warm socks, and you will be perfectly fine till morning. I said, wow, wonderful. So I'll still have this medicine, but I'll try
Mm-hmm.
that. And I did
Mm.
that. And guess what? I had even 2 degrees higher fever because
Mm.
the Russians are used to that therapy. Indians are not. And what Indians are used to is
Yeah.
having turmeric for everything. We have turmeric if we have stomach ache, we have turmeric if we have body ache, we have turmeric if we
Mm.
have a sore throat, we have turmeric for everything, for wound healing as well. And you try
Mm.
and feed so much of turmeric to a Russian, he'll probably start going to the washroom every 2 minutes. This is
Yeah.
epigenetics. This is epigenetics. So, what we are trying to discuss here
Yeah.
is that let's start to find a good balance, Dr. Kofi, between you and me, between Global Menopause Collective and Skin Foundation Africa, and educate
Mm-hmm.
people that fine, this is okay to adopt science, to adopt dermatology, but dermatology, let it be as a science, not as a go to thing on TikTok and Instagram. And let's try
Yeah.
and find out avenues, ways of incorporating better natural products into our regimes,
Mm.
into our lifestyle. And let's educate people around this. Why we started this was because ladies, women who were undergoing menopause had a very different skin makeup and very different skin issues, hair issues. And we started
Yeah.
exploring a lot of things, a lot of facts around this particular condition, this particular stage of theirs. And I'm sure that this would be the same in Africa. So how is it with
Mm-hmm.
menopause related skin issues in Africa, if you can shed some light over that?
Yeah. So basically, you know how the especially the sex hormones, the
Yeah,
estrogen,
yeah,
the role that it plays and stuff. So it's the same thing here. Menopause, in terms of your skin barrier is at risk, but then people tend to their skin tends to get dry, easily. That's the first common complication. And sometimes while your skin is getting dry, that's the interplay between the dryness of your skin, xerosis, and the allergens.
right.
Because the barrier is impaired, you can have any allergen
Hmm.
going in there to elicit or to start or to begin any allergic reactions.
Right.
But most importantly is the hormones.
Hmm.
Is the hormones. So once the hormones are, behaving or they are acting funny in this way, definitely they tend to be at risk. They tend to be at risk of some of these skin complications, even wrinkles and stuff. So wrinkling and dryness, sometimes peeling of your skin as well. So all these are the skin manifestation of it.
Right.
And once you get to certain, especially once you are aging, the menopause, some people they are on what we call polypharmacy. They are on certain medication for BP, for sugar, for dyslipidemia. So then once they get there, then now you have these hormones that are responsible for, your skin, texture of your skin, they preventing all these, wrinkling and stuff. And sometimes they interfere with some of these medications.
Hmm.
So rather you don't get the full effect of these ones,
Hmm.
and eventually leads to worsening of their skin.
Hmm.
So that's the reason why this is very important. We need to talk about it. Menopause is something, well, definitely once in a while all going to, our women are going to go through it,
Everybody.
but we need to embrace it. We need to
Absolutely.
tackle the skin manifestation of part of it and make it more comprehensive. It will not be just the gynecologist just doing your his or her pap smear, 3 to 4 years. The dermatologist should also,
Absolutely.
help
Absolutely.
out.
And I'm 100% for this. And why am I I would say, worried on this aspect is because somewhere there's a disconnect. Somewhere there's a disconnect that yes, it's a disease. No, it's not a disease. It's a stage of life that you are entering. It's not a 2-week, 3-week process. Sometimes it lasts up to about 12 years, 15 years. And after you have entered each and every progressive day, there's no going back. You're eventually entering into something that's there to stay. So for women of this age group, it is very important for them to start taking care of themselves. You've done enough. You have taken care of everybody in the house. Everybody is well settled now.
Yeah.
Now it's time for you to take care of yourself. And it's very important to consider that this is not just trips to gynecology, but yes, you have to consider dentistry. You have to consider dermatology. You have to consider bone health. Everything. Everything.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
And with this, Dr. Kofi, I would like to thank you for joining in today, and with a promise, and a request. The promise is that I will work alongside you to bring Skin Foundation Africa to all the aspects, bring out all the aspects of Skin Foundation Africa, whatever pillars you have created. I have seen your presentation. It's a beautifully presented thing.
Thank you.
It's a beautiful concept.
Thank you.
And let us join hands together and bring a valid change, a valued change in how skincare is perceived all around the world. It's not just looking good, it's about feeling that goodness inside you. So thank you so much, Dr. Kofi, for joining in. And let us get together again very soon to discuss bigger aspects of how things are going. Thank you so much, Dr. Kofi.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me here. It's also my prayer to do more collaborations.
Yes.
I mean, just yesterday, I was in touch with one doctor, Dr. Abigail Amankwa-Watson, a pediatrician, who is also very much interested in specialist skincare in kids.
Wow.
You know, because of the trends of sometimes they use some of these, steroids and they start getting, toned or bleach and, so the collaborations is something that we need.
Yes.
As professionals, I believe we have a calling. I
Yes.
believe, health delivery, it's a calling.
Yes.
And that's the reason why we are here. I believe we have a calling for the people. We are supposed to make this earth better for the people that live in. So let's use leverage on our power that we have. With this power, use it well. Bring healthcare, to their fullest, especially skincare, and also make skincare almost zero for cost, for everyone.
Yes,
And
absolutely.
they are enjoying the skincare. And in terms of the affordability is
Yes.
also there. In terms of accessibility is also there. In terms of all the reactions also come, especially when we are going the natural way. I think it's going to go a long way to help. When we are no more here one day, we can go and rest, peacefully, knowing that we have empowered.
That's a very
We have had
that's a
these
very
impactful things.
noble
So,
thought of yours. That's a very
so
noble
thank
thought
you
of yours,
very
and
much
I
for
join
having
you
me.
in this thought. So thank you, Dr. Kofi.
Thank you.
Thank you.